Hi everyone, my name is Leanne and today I am bringing you another book haul. I just want to emphasize at this point, this book haul is genuinely not my fault. The bulk of this haul are books that I've been sent for work. If you don't know, I work in children's publishing. I've recently started a new job and my work sent me a bunch of books just so I can catch up and get to speed with the list. But of course, I'm sure a lot of these are going to be just a joy to read anyway. You know I love a kid's book. I have a couple of gifts. I have very few books that I actually acquired by myself. And I have this wonderful box to open, which I think is what I'm going to start with. So this is from a box of stories who very kindly reached out to me and asked if I wanted to try one of their boxes, and I was like, of course, yes please. The way this box works and the way that they distribute books is something that's really interesting. I think it's really great that it prolongs the life of a lot of books, and it means hopefully you receive some books that kind of went under your radar a little bit and deserve a bit of a boost. Their boxes start at $14.99 and you get 4 books in that, which is incredible. I also have a discount code that can get you £4 off your first purchase, so I will leave that down below in the description as well if you would like to make use of it. So yeah, let's dig into this. Should have brought scissors. There are like different kinds of boxes, so I think they have like YA boxes, they have like crime and thriller boxes. Man, I'm so excited! Why do I feel so tense? It's just so exciting. Like sometimes I feel like there's so much kind of choice out there about like picking what books you want to read. It's kind of nice when someone else makes that choice for you. So the first book I have is I think a movie cover of The Drop, which I've never heard before. I think, is that Tom Hardy on the cover? I mean, that intrigues me. I think this is Rhyme, just judging by the kind of cover. I realize it's not very helpful that I can't tell you about the book, but I'm not gonna sit here and read blurbs to you. That is not what we're about here. Next I have Their Lips Talk of Mischief by Alan Warner. Just based on the cover, I feel like this would be up my street. I think this is possibly quite a literary one, but that's just based on the fact that it's published by Faber and Faber. Next I have The Exclusives by Rebecca Thornton. I think this is a mystery thriller, again, just kind of based on the cover. I mean, someone has said that it's Prep meets The Secret History meets Mean Girls, and I'm really feeling that. This next one is Chungi. This is The Hakawati by Rabeh Alameddine. I love the cover for this. I think it's beautiful, and you've got like this little open book that has all these, I don't know if they're leaves or what, coming out of it. What an interesting little stack of books. Thank you so much to A Box of Stories for sending me these. As I said, if you are interested in getting one of these boxes, there will be all of the information down below in the description as to how you can get a bit of a discount. While we're on things that have been sent to me, I had 2 very lovely Christmas presents arrive, and I think they arrived the day after I uploaded my book haul in December, so they just missed out on being in that video. I was so excited when these arrived and I was so grateful. Thank you so much. The first book I have to show you is Am I Normal Yet by Holly Bourne. This was gifted to me by the wonderful Victoria, whose channel I believe linked down below in the description. This is the first book in the Spinster Girls trilogy. So I have read the first 2 books in the Spinster series. So I've read this one before, but it was quite a few years ago and I can't really remember much about it other than loving it, so I really want to reread it. So I'm so excited to now have a copy of this, and I would like to go ahead and get the next 2 books, How Hard Can Love Be, which I have read before but again don't remember too much about and would love to reread, and What's a Girl Gotta Do, which I had never read before. I'm really keen to own the entire series, so I was so pleased when this arrived. Thank you so much, Victoria. I also have Nothing Ever Happens Here by Sarah Hager Holt. This was sent to me by the wonderful Mary. Again, her channel will be linked down below in the description. This is a book that I'm really keen to get to soon. I think it's a middle grade book that follows Izzy and her family and what happens when Izzy's dad comes out as Danielle, a trans woman. I am so excited to read this. The fact that there are kids books like this out there now warms my heart. I'm so excited to read this. Thanks so much, Mary. Next I have 2 books that I'm going to talk about together. So I have Pages for You and Pages for Her by Sylvia Brownrigg. These are 2 books that had been on my radar for a little while, but I heard Emma from Drinking by My Shelf. I heard her talking about them quite recently and she really spurred me on to finally get hold of these books. In the first book, Pages for You, we are following a young woman at university who I think enters into a relationship with one of her lecturers, maybe? And it's a story of queer romance between these 2 characters, and then Pages for Her is a sequel that was written much later on, and it follows these characters down the line. I think it's like 20 years down the line and their affair comes flooding back. So excited to read these. I think they're just going to be totally up my street. Next I have a non-fiction book. I have Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man by Emmanuel Acko. Reading more about racism, about systemic racism, about how we can dismantle that and how to be actively anti-racist is something that I definitely want to continue reading about in 2021, and I'm very keen to get to this book that deals with a lot of the conversations that are a little bit uncomfortable. It deals with kind of the questions that white people might be a bit nervous to ask or talk about or not know how to ask, and I think this book really enables a space that is safe and compassionate and understanding and educational. I think the cover of this is really cool as well. So the rest of these books are all books that I have been sent from work. I'm gonna go through them quite quickly, and as I said, these will all be kids books. So I have a little stack of picture books. I've read all of these already and I reviewed them in my December wrap up, which I will leave links down below in the description and in the cards. So I have I'm Sticking With You by Smriti Halls and Steve Small. This is a fantastic story about friendship and sticking together and how friends can support you through the good times and the bad, and the illustrations in this I absolutely adore. I also have The Littlest Yak by Lou Fraser and Kate Hindley. I enjoyed this so much. This is a story about a very little yak who feels very sad about the fact that they are smaller than all of the other yak, but eventually comes to see the power in how small they are and that they should be in no rush to grow up. I also have two of the Super Tato books by Sue Hendra and Paul Linnett. These are super fun picture books that are set in a supermarket and involve a superhero potato, which is what my friends call me. They're so fun, and one element of these kind of picture books that I really love is that there's lots of stuff for you to spot in the illustration. Next I have two books by Michelle Harrison. I have A Pinch of Magic and A Sprinkle of Sorcery. This is the exact kind of middle grade that I love, you know, fantasy middle grade. These books are also about sisters, which is always something that I adore. There is adventure, there's magic. I'm so excited for these two. Next I have a Christmas book. I know we're in January, but I have a Christmas book. We have The Night I Met Father Christmas by Ben Miller. This is a book about a young boy named Jackson who wants to know how exactly Father Christmas became Father Christmas, and then he finds out from the man himself. It's essentially Father Christmas's origin story. I am so here for it. Next I have a young adult book. I have A Legend Born by Tracy Dion. I have already seen so much hype around this book, and it is a little bit out of my comfort zone in terms of what I normally read, and that makes me so excited to delve into something new. In this book we're following 16-year-old Bree, whose mother has recently died in an accident. After this, Bree doesn't really want anything to do with her home, with her family, and she goes to this residential program for like gifted high schoolers. Then on her first night on campus, she witnesses a magical attack. A mysterious mage named Merlin tries to wipe Bree's memory of what she saw, but it fails, and this unlocks a magical power in Bree herself. One of the aspects of this book that really intrigues me, that it is an Arthur and Merlin retelling, which is, it's so intriguing to me. I'm so excited to find out what the author does with this story that so many people know so well, and the twists that she puts on it. And can we talk about how beautiful this is, because it's beautiful. Next is another book that is slightly out of my comfort zone again. It's like a young adult fantasy. This is The Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare and Wendy Chu. Obviously I have heard so much about the Shadowhunters series over the years. I know so many people love it, and it's a hype train that I never managed to board it, but I'm ready. I'm getting on. Next I have Pizzazz by Sophie Henn. This looks like it's gonna be so much fun. All I really know is that it is about a young girl who is a superhero. The inside looks super intriguing because it's very much a graphic kind of story. When I put this little stack of books on Twitter, Harriet Rosie, who I adore with my whole heart, told me how much she enjoyed this book, so I'm really excited. Two more books, guys, just two more books. Next I have A Dragon Mountain by Katie and Kevin Sang. This sounds like it's gonna be fantastic escapist fiction, like totally putting you into a different world. In this book we're following 12-year-old Billy, who is sent to a summer camp in the mountains of China, and he does not want to go. He would much rather be spending his summer at home. But then he and his fellow campmates stumble across this secret mountain and they find a dragon. In fact, they find multiple dragons. I think this is going to be such a cozy, quick read. I'm really looking forward to it. And finally, I have Jungle Drop by Abby Elphinston. Again, this is one that just sounds like it's going to be such an imaginative adventure. In this book, we are following Fox and Fibber. I think one's a boy, one's a girl, and they have been rivals for as long as they can remember, and only one of them can inherit the family fortune. They are whisked away to what is called the Jungle Drop, which is an unmapped kingdom which is in charge of all the world's weather. They have to join forces in a race against time, track down a long lost forever fern, but they are not the only ones that are looking for this. No, there is also a harpy that is after this forever fern, and they have to beat her there. It's set in a glow-in-the-dark rainforest. The whole thing just sounds so imaginative, and again, I think it's going to be such a lovely, cozy read for me. So that's it. They are all the books that I have to talk to you about today. Following on from the unhaul video, which I did a few days ago, of course, these books have now gone on to my physical TBR, which now stands at this number, which isn't ideal. When I wanted my physical TBR to be below 100 books by the end of 2020, and we're well past 2020 now. But we'll see where my physical TBR is when I do my January wrap up. We're working on it, guys, okay? We're working on it. All of these books will be linked down below in the description if you want to find out more about them. If you have anything you want to say about any of these books, if you've read any of them before, do leave me a comment down below, or leave me a little emoji so that I know that you're here. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will talk to you in my next video.